Nicole, no, Demaya.
There was a young lady, hair and top. She was very good. She wants to be a journalist.
Aya?
No, she had the hair tied around like
Was
a
she
bun.
black, with a tan overcoat? Was it in this room over here?
Yes, right across.
Demaya.
Demaya. She was very impressive. She was very articulate
Oh, good. I will tell.
and quite poised.
Awesome. That is awesome. Here, she wants to be a journalist.
She wants to go to Brown. She was
Excellent. Be sure to pass this on. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's one of the reasons I picked her to do the interview.
Well,
She,
if she wants any further information, give her, Marsha, this is my email.
yes.
It's actually my name, feldmangale@gmail.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Because it might help.
All right. Thank you. Marsha.
We need to hide my camera. They're doing things like that to hide my camera.
Vanessa? Vanessa.
It has a hard drive. It's not reading the hard drive. So I'm going to have to send that back. The problem is, it's my baby. I rarely take that one.
Well, I looked at my AC.
So the funny thing with Sony,
Just for videography.
when you're a Sony person, you're like, I started with with their memory. Yes.
Yeah, well, see, the one I had, yeah, I guess I didn't know it actually has internal memory, but it also has two memory slots, two SD memory slots. Yeah. I had that with my I still have a 7D as my backup camera. The only reason I don't mainly use it because my shoe, the top shoe doesn't really mount my flash that way.
Very little fail.
Yes.
I've had a couple SD cards go bad. Not horrible. Enough where,
Yeah, I have one where like spread a little bit. That's good.
Good afternoon, everyone. If we can have folks kind of get together. For those of you that I did not meet yet, my name is Lisa Misi, and I am the 20th principal of your alma mater, the Philadelphia High School for Girls. So, as I have said at the two reunions that I just went to the past 2 weeks, I don't like standing behind a podium and speaking. I like being with folks, and so hopefully everyone can hear me. If you cannot, just let me know. I'll speak a little louder. So today we are here to celebrate exceptional women who have walked the halls of the Philadelphia High School for Girls. And so I kept the list with me because I just want our students to be familiar with the potential that they have, right? The opportunity that lives beyond Girls High. So, for those of you who may not know each other, today we honor a diplomat, an internationally renowned biographer and journalist, a champion for equal rights for female athletes, and an award-winning athlete herself, an international artist and sculptor, a performing artist and administrator, the co-founder of the Links International Service Organization, an internationally known filmmaker, the first African-American principal librarian for the orchestra, a change maker in the United Methodist Church, a musician, vocalist, and artistic director, a social activist, and award-winning Black feminist, and the first African-American woman to clerk in the Supreme Court. So, my welcomes are always very personal, and so I just want to say to you, you are not here today being honored just for all the good work you have done. You are here because you are a trailblazer, you are a change maker, you are a woman who exceeded everyone's expectations around you but your own. You did not take no for an answer. You figured out how to walk up to that line, jump over it, and come back when necessary. And so I will tell you a little story of a revolt that is happening today in the Philadelphia High School for Girls. It is Spirit Week. Student government established the Spirit Week for this week, decided on the days. A few students went rogue, decided on their own days. Today, the Rogue group won the day as they all appeared in Teen Beach movies. So you may be like, why are these women wearing leather all over the thing? This is because one of the characters, that's what she wears. She wears leather pants, leather skirts, leather jackets, big old boots. The other character wears bathing suits. Shirts has their boogie board, so Hawaiian shirts are also the other popular choice for today. I just had a conversation with a young woman in the hallway who was the rogue who posted her own Spirit Week. And it's funny because I just pulled her out of an assembly a few weeks back and said, you are a leader, yet you hide behind the people that do the work for you. And I need you to step up and take your place in the spotlight. And so, I just had a conversation with her in the hallway about distinguished daughters today and what it means to walk up to the line, knowing that there is a potential to be pushed back, but knowing that and going forward anyway. And so while today there may have been this small revolt inside of Girls High, I see it as my students stepping up to that line without causing harm to anyone else and going rogue. And that's amazing, because I would never have known it was her if she had not taken credit for the day, which is exactly what I told her to do a few years ago. So, while the young women in the building may not know they are following in some amazing, potentially rule-breaking footsteps, I just want you to know I appreciate you for everything you have done, because you have shattered glass ceilings for our girls today. And so we welcome you today, we honor you today, and we thank you for coming back home. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to a beautiful event.
Well, since Lisa set the bar and decided we were going to speak from the floor, I'm going to speak from the floor. Good afternoon. My name is Marcia Hinton. I'm the Executive Director of the Alumni Association of the Philadelphia High School for Girls. I thank you all for joining us. I welcome the honorees, their support system, their friends and family. Thank you. Distinguished Daughters was established in 1998 for our sesquicentennial celebration, 150 years. And guess what? In 2023, we celebrate 175 years of being. And that anniversary also has a very special name. It's the, say it with me, Elizabeth, Semi-Demi Sepcentennial. And you will get more information about our year-long calendar of activities beginning February 1st, 2023. I'm not going to belabor it, but I just wanted to say welcome, and you'll get more information about that. And I turn the floor over to Azeb Kender, and there she is.
Welcome, everyone. I think everything that needs to be said has been said, but I want to say, as a proud Girls High graduate, you ladies are the reasons why I thought I could do anything. I came to Girls High because my favorite neighbor went to Girls High, and I was like, sounds good, I'll go. You know, it wasn't until I got here and I started hearing stories and I understood the shoulders that I was standing on, and I knew I was going to be great, not in an arrogant way, but because I had to. Because this institution makes great women. And so I,
that's right.
So when I recently in 2020 got my doctorate, and I was talking to someone, and when I talk to people, they're like, oh, that's amazing. And I'm like, no, I went to Girls High. That's just a thing. That's what we do. We are fabulous. We are amazing. We are accomplished. and we are a sisterhood. And I want to thank you and congratulate you on this much, much well-deserved accolade that was years in the making. And I hope you all know that my class, all the classes behind the classes that are here now are because of you. And we appreciate you, and we're grateful, and we are so glad that you came home and we're able to celebrate you. So thank you, congratulations, and I look forward to hearing all of your amazing information. Thanks.
And now we have a very brief slideshow about our honorees for 2022. Thank you, Joe. from Miss Samantha Khan. And please, her last name is spelled incorrectly in the program, but we'll fix that and send out an amended version. Thank you. Only because the son and granddaughter of Karen Hasty Williams came up on the train from Washington, D.C. Because we're going in alphabetical order, they would have been the last honorees. So we want to get them out and back to 30th Street Station so they can get on their 3 o'clock train. So we're going to start with Karen Hasty Williams. I'm going to tell you a quick story before I show you this. One Sunday morning, I'm getting dressed, ready to go to church, and watching the Today Show as I always do. And Willie Geist does a story every week on someone who has passed, who's made an impression, who's left a legacy in the world. And he starts by saying Karen Hasty Williams had passed that week. And I'm getting dressed and putting on my makeup. And he says, this graduate of the Philadelphia High School for Girls, and I almost stabbed myself in the eye with the mascara. I was like, who knew? Who knew this history walked our halls? So with that, I am going to let Joe play the tribute by Willie Geist, NBC News, and followed by Mr. Bailey Williams and Ms. Morgan Williams. Thank you.
This week we highlight another life well lived. In 1974, the first black Supreme Court justice in American history hired the first black woman ever to serve as a clerk at the High Court. That clerk would go on to become one of the most prominent attorneys in America. Karen Hasty Williams earned the coveted job under Justice Marshall a year after she graduated from law school. She later served as chief counsel to the Senate Budget Committee, and then worked for the Office of Management and Budget under President Carter. Hasty Williams had a good role model in blazing her trail. Her father, William Hasty, was appointed by President Franklin Roosevelt in 1937 as the first black federal judge in American history. He later served as dean of the Howard University Law School and as governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Karen spent part of her childhood. After working in the government, Hasty Williams took a job in 1981 with the Washington law firm Kroll and Mooring, where she would become both the first woman and first black partner. Hasty Williams was known best, perhaps, for representing victims of state-sponsored terrorism, most famously Terry Anderson, a journalist held hostage in Lebanon for nearly 7 years. Karen and her husband of 53 years, Wesley Williams Jr., a prominent law partner himself and a minister, were known for using their powerful position in Washington society to lift up young black women and men, professionally and socially. When Justice Thurgood Marshall died in 1993, Hasty Williams delivered a eulogy at his National Cathedral memorial service. Karen Hasty Williams, a groundbreaking American attorney, died last month in Washington. She was 76 years old.
I invite to the podium Mr. Bailey Williams and Ms. Morgan Williams.
Good afternoon. My name is Morgan Williams, and I'm Karen Hasty Williams' granddaughter. I'm 7 years old, and I'm in the 2nd grade at Beauvoir School in Washington, D.C. On behalf of the entire Williams family, thank you for honoring my grandmother. She is an example of someone who worked hard, gave back to her community, and helped other women and girls succeed. Thanks to my grandmother, I know I can do anything, and now my dad will share a few words.
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you for honoring my mother as part of Girls High's Distinguished Daughters Court of Honor. Congratulations also to the impressive list of honorees. My name is Bailey Williams, and I am Karen's youngest son. My mother held Girls High in high regard and credited this institution as her academic foundation. Some of you likely already know my mother's story after Girls High, but give me 120 seconds and I'll run through the next 60 years of her life. From Girls High, Karen went on to Bates College. She then received a master's from the Fletcher School of International Law and Diplomacy, and then received a JD from Catholic University School of Law. After law school, Karen served 2 years as a law clerk for Chief Judge Spotswood Robinson of the D.C. Circuit United States Court of Appeals, and then she spent 2 additional years as a law clerk on the Supreme Court for Justice Thurgood Marshall, making her the first African-American woman to clerk for the Supreme Court. And she did not stop there. She went on to work in the Carter administration before returning to the private practice of law, where she became the first Black and first female partner at Crowell & Moring in Washington, D.C. These are the accolades that have garnered her inclusion in the Daughters Court of Honor and her own small place in history. And for that, we are grateful. These are not, however, the accolades of which she was most proud. My mother was most proud of her life of service in helping Black women and men break into corporate America during times when no one else looked like my mom. At her funeral last year, several of her old law associates remarked that they appreciated that she went out of her way to include Black associates in client meetings, calls, and presentations. Further, she was proud of her work with a multitude of nonprofit organizations, including, but not limited to, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Black Student Fund, Girls Inc., and the Susan G. Komen Foundation for Breast Cancer Research. I will also say that she was a very proud member of the Lynx as well. Helping others brought my mother great joy. If my mother were here today, she would tell you that the rigorous academics and discipline required of students at Girls High set her up for success. My mother wanted Black girls and boys to look up to her and know that they could reach the highest levels of corporate America, even though the people in the suits were of a fairer skin tone than she. On behalf of our family, thank you again for honoring my mother, and thank you for educating the next generation of female leaders.
On behalf of the Alumni Association, I'd like to present the certificate, the award, and because I shared with Bailey and his sister Amanda a picture that was shared with me by one of Mrs. Williams' classmates of contest that she participated in. I have a contest box for Miss Morgan. Thank you so much. And now we're going back in order. Our second honoree is Tanya C. Anderson, class of 1974, 218, of which I am a proud member as well. Upon graduating from Girls High, Tanya received a BS in Foreign Service, Latin American, and African Studies from Georgetown University, a master's in National Security Strategy at the National War College, and a one-year study abroad program at Pontificia Universidad Católica del Ecuador. You can tell I never took Spanish. Tanya has enjoyed an exemplary career in foreign service for our country. In a career that spans more than 25 years, Tanya served in East Asia, Baghdad, Kuwait, Casablanca, Oman, Cairo, Philippines, Barcelona, and her last post was a U.S. consulate in Guadalajara, Mexico, where she supervised a staff of 185. After 25 years of service in the State Department, her most recent accomplishment was being named Diplomat in Residence in the Career Services Department at Tulane University. I'd like to read an excerpt from the nomination letter written by our fellow classmate Kim Pearson. There's a through line in this narrative that goes back to Girls High, where Tanya not only excelled as a student, but was the kind of girl who was everyone's confidant. Philadelphia was ridden by neighborhood, class, and ethnic conflict, but Tanya moved between neighborhoods, cliques, and cultures. At Georgetown, she lived with the international students, absorbing languages, recipes, and traditions. Her humanity and sensitivity revealed themselves in poetry, travelogues, and photography. This sensitivity is undergirded by discipline that's also part of the Girls High ethos. Indeed, conquered by conquering herself. One of the reasons she's such a respected manager is because she lives up to the high standards she sets. She's an exacting writer. She's a proactive manager. She does not accept excuses. She hates the expression good enough for government work, because the idea that anyone should expect less of public servants is poison to her. One of the reasons that giving back to Girls High is important to her is that she wants younger women to experience the passion for excellence that was reinforced by our teachers when we were at Girls. That's why she's offered to mentor younger Girls High alum who are interested in foreign service. She's been a financial contributor to the association, and she's offered to hold video teleconferences for classes from the far-flung coast where she's been living. I can't think of anyone who better exemplifies the intangible spirit than Tanya Anderson. The class of 218 are fortunate to have two exceptional diplomats in our ranks. Distinguished daughter, Ambassador Wanda Nesbitt, is also a classmate. As you pursue Tanya as a nominee, I am sure that you will agree that she deserves to join Ambassador Nesbitt in the Court of Honor. Hear, hear, Kim. We agree. Tanya has earned a valued position in the Court of Honor. Today, it is my pleasure to add her name to the list of our distinguished daughters. Tanya can't be here with us today, but fellow classmate Pam Austin will accept on her behalf.
Hello. You gonna give me this or give me this? So yeah, Tanya, who changed her first name when we were, I don't know, a year out of high school to Rafika, and she forced us all to remember that because she just stopped answering to Tanya. Made it easy. And it was strange when she went to work for the government because then we all had to switch back to Tanya. So if I slip at some point, you now know why. She's retired, she's in Florida, she could not make it up for this, and she sends her regrets and remarks. So I am, pretend I'm her. So, esteemed guests, distinguished daughters, and fellow members of the class of 218. As a 9-year-old girl sitting on the steps in front of my home in North Philadelphia, I dreamt of becoming a peacemaker. Countries in Africa were seeking independence, and here in America, women, people of color, and minority groups were fighting to achieve full equality and human rights. I felt called to make a positive contribution to the changes taking place and to make a meaningful difference in the world. At that time, I didn't know how my future would unfold and the vital role that Girls High would play in nurturing my dream to reality. Once accepted into Girls High, I realized that I had entered a community of like-minded souls. I met young women of different ethnic backgrounds, cultures, religions, and countries with remarkable stories to tell and dreams for the future. The sense of unity and oneness gained during those 4 years has sustained me until now. I made lifelong friends who welcomed me into their lives and homes and always treated me like family. Tamar Ziegel-Grainer, Pam Austin, Kim Pearson. And yes, we're all still friends, we all still see each other. Equally important, I met teachers who not only cared about their subjects, whether it was algebra, history, English literature, Spanish, or tennis, but also truly cared about us and our success. In addition to encouraging us to seek knowledge and build competency in leadership and communication skills, the teachers and the administration instilled in us a sense of dignity and self-confidence that we would compete effectively among the best of the best. By reading all the biographies and autobiographies in the school library, I felt those female role models proved that women could be anything we chose to be. That self-confidence in Girls High's legendary rigorous study prepared me well for George County University School of Foreign Service, a college I would never have attended without the kind intercession of our vice principal on my behalf, which I'm assuming was Dr. Wright. Thanks to the solid foundation, I later joined the U.S. Foreign Service and served at 9 diplomatic posts for the next 27 years in East Asia, North Africa, Middle East, Europe, and Latin America, accompanied by my daughter Morgan. My first assignment was to serve as First Lady Clinton's visit officer in Manila, and then later in Cairo, before working with her again when she became Secretary of State. I had the pleasure to set up press conferences for late Secretary Madeleine Albright in Alexandria and Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to report on developments in Middle East peace negotiations. I brought together prominent women leaders representing a range of fields for a lunch I held where Second Lady Elizabeth Cheney, with Vice President Cheney, conducted a 3-day visit to Oman. It was also gratifying to host a meeting of Secretary Condoleezza Rice with women running for office for the first time in the history of Kuwait. Each of these events required months of work, building trusting relationships with women on the rise throughout our society during periods of extraordinary change, when they first achieved the right to vote. Later, while serving as regional coordinator for the provincial reconstruction teams based throughout Iraq, I received word that the women I had worked with in Oman and Kuwait had finally been elected to positions of authority in their respective parliaments, a monumental achievement considering the many societal restrictions they had to overcome. Prior to my retirement in 2020, I had accumulated 23 meritorious and superior honor awards and was promoted to the second highest position in the senior foreign service, Minister Counselor rank. I mentored scores of new officers, led teams in the hundreds, and managed budgets up to nearly $1 billion. I believe I made a positive difference in the lives of many people around the globe, especially women from Morocco, where they fought for the right to divorce, and Mexico, where combating domestic violence and human trafficking were high on our agenda. I am and have always been extremely proud to be a Girls High graduate, and it humbles me to have brought honor through my profession to my alma mater. That is why I count it as a great compliment to receive a delegation from Girls High Spanish class visiting Barcelona, where I served as Consul General. Spanish was my favorite class in high school and remains my favorite of the 7 languages I've learned. I hope I have represented you well through my life's work and pledge to continue to do so in the future. I gratefully accept your nomination to the Distinguished Daughters Court of Honor. I can think of no greater distinction. Thank you.
I'm going to show you the bag, but it will be mailed. As will the certificate. Thank you, Pam.
Good afternoon. My name is Gail Davidson Titus. I am a member of the graduating class of 1977, the mighty 221. I'm also the recording secretary of the Alumni Association Board, and I serve on the Distinguished Daughters Committee. I'm honored this afternoon to introduce Distinguished Daughter Gail Feldman. Gail Feldman is the sister of my Girls High 221 sister and friend, Vicki Feldman, who's raising her hand. Gail's son Ben is here to celebrate, along with Gail's other sister Sandy. Welcome. Gail was born and raised in Philadelphia, and after graduating in the 213th graduating class in 1969 at Girls High, she graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, cum laude, with a BA in Romance Languages in 1973. Gail furthered her educational endeavors at Cambridge University and received her master's degree in modern languages in 1975. Subsequently, a French government grant enabled her to teach and study for a year in France. She returned to the United Kingdom, married an Englishman, and worked in book publishing as an editor of academic and educational books in London for 7 years. From 1984 to 1985, Gail represented the British Publishers Association on a cultural exchange with the Publishing Administration of China, working at the Commercial Press in Beijing and the Translation Publishing House in Shanghai. While there, she wrote her first articles, a series of letters from China, for the London-based magazine of the British book business, The Bookseller, and published one of the earliest Western analyses of Chinese publishing in the China Quarterly. In 1991, while pregnant, Gail was diagnosed with breast cancer, the disease that took the lives of her mother at age 47 and grandmother at age 56. She decided that she wanted to help other women who might have to face a similar scenario and to convince them to fight for their lives and to believe that there can be hope even in their darkest hours. The result was Gail's memoir, Don't Have to Be Your Mother, which was published in 1994 by W.W. Norton in the U.S. and went on to be published in the UK, Germany, and Brazil. Her memoir became a Reader's Digest serial and was a Literary Guild selection. Time certainly does not allow to reflect on all of Gail's accomplishments and professional work. She has written about topics which have had a profound impact, not just on book publishing, but on society as a whole. In 2023, Gail anticipates the publication of her major 900-page biography of Random House's co-founder Bennett Cerf, who had a great influence on literary and popular culture in America. A recent example, as of April 2022, of Gail's significant and timely work is her 4,000-word essay on the history of book censorship in America, a piece that she was asked to write for the 150th anniversary issue of Publishers Weekly. Distinguished daughter Gail Feldman, please approach the podium.
I have a low voice, but I think you can hear me with this, yep? Many, many thanks to the Awards Committee and the Alumni Board for this honor, and to my dear younger sister and fellow alum, Vicky Feldman, for proposing me. It's a wonderful thing to have such a special sister. Congratulations to my fellow Court of Honor members, and thanks to everybody who is here today, especially to my older sister Sandy, to the best son in the world, Ben Reed, and to my husband, David Reed, who is watching this on live stream in New York. Although I've lived for many years in New York, you will notice that my accent is not quite the same as when I first walked through these pink marble halls, age 14. You might guess that somewhere along the way, I spent a good chunk of years in England, and you would be right. But I can assure you, I am as native a Philadelphian as they come. I love this city. I'm rooted in this city. And Girls High forms one of the strongest roots for me. My working life has been devoted to books, first as an editor, at publishing houses in London, then as a journalist working at Publishers Weekly and for the business section of the New York Times as a stringer, writing about the book business in America. More recently, as you heard, as a biographer, looking through the lens of one life, the co-founder of Random House, a man named Bennett Cerf, who had an enormous life publishing people from James Joyce and Gertrude Stein and William Faulkner through Ralph Ellison down to Truman Capote, Dr. Seuss, Philip Roth. I've written hundreds of articles and interviewed countless people over the years, from Toni Morrison to Angela Lansbury, and learned that something people often return to during the course of an interview is an early turning point that they experienced in life. Well, coming to Girls High changed my life. Growing up a quiet bookworm in Northeast Philly, I'd never heard of the school until my sister Sandy, who was in art college, brought home Janice, her new and very glamorous best friend. I didn't exactly love junior high. Does that shock you? And Janice, a GHS alum, sensed that. She told me about this place where girls from all over the city could go. And the next thing I knew, I was one of only 3 girls from the Northeast, originally destined for another year of Woodrow Wilson Junior High School, and then 3 at Northeast, who opted instead for 4 years at Girls High. It was goodbye spitballs flying across the classroom, and hello pink marble halls. At first, GHS was intimidating, but then it was not. It was a place that allowed me to be me, helped me discover who that me was. It was the wonderful friends who didn't have to worry about seeming too smart in front of the boys. It was the teachers who set examples and standards for who I might become, and taught lessons that weren't just academic, but lessons for life. I remember in 9th grade biology, Edna Green, the department head, teaching us about muscles, and her saying one day, "Girls, don't be pushed by anybody into wearing girdles. Younger GHS sisters may not know that in those days, many women wore girdles as part of their regular underwear. You've got stomach muscles, girl. Girl, you've got stomach muscles, girl. Dr. Green told us, use them." I remember endless hours with Miss Collar, parsing sentences and Shakespeare. With Mrs. Wickle, learning Latin, building blocks for someone who would become a writer. With my beloved French teacher, Mrs. Walbaum, who taught me so much about literature and culture and the big world that could be mine to explore. I remember her taking me to hear a French singer perform. And I remember Mr. Murphy taking the class to hear the Philadelphia Orchestra. It was the first time I ever went to an orchestral concert. Oh, and did I say that without the college counselor, Mrs. Ehrenreich, how would I have received the scholarship that enabled me to go to Penn? When my mother died in my sophomore year, it was Girls High, the girls and the teachers, that kept me together. Without this school, I would not have made it at all. In the decades since I graduated, the world has changed. The country has changed. Philadelphia has changed. And the school has changed, for better and for worse. In my day, the school didn't have to worry about providing a fully staffed, full-time library. But GHS has survived. And if the girls who interviewed me this morning are anything to go by, it's flourishing. I am deeply moved to have received this honor, and hope that all of us do whatever we can to ensure that this school with such history continues not just to survive, but to thrive in the world we find ourselves in today. For the girls who need it in order to blossom today. Education, civics, critical thinking skills are the bedrock for a life and for the life of the country. Thank you very much.
It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce distinguished daughter, Jean Friedman. Jean Friedman has been a preeminent and active member in the world of crew for over 30 years. She is a founding member of Boston University's crew team, where she twice led them to gold medals at the U.S. Nationals. Jean serves as Senior Lecturer Emeritus in the Mount Holyoke Department of Physical Education and Athletics. She retired from head coaching duties of the Lions rowing team at the conclusion of the 2013-2014 season after 22 years at the helm. Jean graduated from Girls High in 1972 with the 216th graduating class. During her high school years, this all-around athlete was a force in Girls High basketball, lacrosse, softball, swimming, gymnastics, and volleyball teams. She excelled in all of these sports and was honored her senior year by B'nai B'rith with the 1972 Outstanding Athlete of the Year Award. Jean is as active in her religious life as she is dedicated to her sport. As a young girl, she often attended the West Oak Lane Jewish Community Center, where she was both a bat mitzvah and confirmed. As a young adult, she continued her Jewish education by graduating from Gratz College. At Mount Holyoke, she is a valued member of the Jewish Faculty Committee. In her undergraduate years at Boston University, Jean was instrumental in founding the university's crew team in 1973. As their captain, she led them to the National Women's Rowing Championship in both open and lightweight fours in 1974 and lightweight eights in 1975. Jean earned her BA degree in health dynamics and earned her master's in exercise physiology at the University of Washington. Before her appointment as leader of Mount Holyoke's crew team, Jean coached at Lower Merion High School from 1983 to 1988. For the following 3 years, she served as the assistant crew coach at the University of Pennsylvania. In 1990, she returned to Lower Merion, this time as its head coach. In her 18 years coaching the Mount Holyoke College Lions, she led them to new heights. Her teams won 5 Seven Sisters championships, 1 New England Regional Championship, and 4 New England Women's and Men's Athletic Conference Championships. Jean's induction into the Philadelphia Jewish Sports Hall of Fame in 2009 is a significant honor and recognizes her many contributions to rowing and women's sports in general. She fought for equal rights for female athletes as a college student in the 70s and has committed her entire professional life to providing opportunities for women to grow and develop through sport. Jean, please approach the podium.
I would like to thank everybody for coming, and I would like to make one crucial correction. Class of 215, 1971.
Yes.
So I'm proud to be, I would love to be an honorary member of the class of 216, but I am a member of the 215, and I'm thrilled to be so. No problem. I would, as everyone has thanked, I'd like to thank the committee for this amazing honor. I would like to thank my brother for joining me, and my daughter number 2. I was daughter number 1, and Gladys was daughter number 2 to our 2 mothers. And Gladys has remained a great friend all through these years, classmate of 215. I wasn't necessarily prepared to make any remarks, so these will be off the cuff, so to speak, and short. I'm embarrassed when talking with friends about our high school years, because no one else seems to have enjoyed them, which I just cannot possibly understand and imagine. I think my years at Girls High were a foundation upon which most of the rest of my life was based, as everyone else has said. I think it started sports-wise with going to camp, so I must thank my camp counselors. I must thank my parents, who did not mind that they had a young daughter who enjoyed running around and playing stickball with my brother and his friends, and basketball through the hoops of the telephone wires that ran in the back of the buildings, and what is it, dead ball, you know, something with the bottle caps and stuff. And then I came to Girls High, mostly because my mother was the proudest of alums from the class of 1948. Gladys and I used to sing at my mother's reunions, and she ran them about every 5 years until maybe their 65th or so. I really can't remember when the last one was. So I knew of the school, I knew of her love for the school, but it was this school that I think, without telling us what we were becoming feminists. I think before the word possibly was as much in use. We were learning that as women, we could take charge. In fact, there was no one else to take charge. We could be strong in our bodies. We could be athletes. We could be smart without apologizing for it. We could not worry so much about what we're wearing. In fact, I hear my mother from above saying right now, "Is that what you're wearing?" And when we were here, as many of you probably remember, I think we were able to wear pants one day on Fridays, and it probably wasn't jeans. So I think Girls High taught me all those things, and I was definitely a gym rat. But again, as the president of the Athletics Association, with Gladys as the vice president, I remember we had a meeting where I had to tell Dr. Klein to be quiet because she was speaking out of turn. You know, and that's something I would not have learned, and it was appreciated. She was quiet. It was great. So it was a way of learning how to take charge, and I think that was very, very important. And I think that's also what I have learned from sports, and that I think sports to me is as much an art form as dance, as ballet, as anything else. A well-performed athletic event is a praise for the body. Our bodies are wonderful, and we need to be as strong in body so we can be strong in mind. And so I think whatever it is you do, and I say this to everybody here, we're all sort of about the same age, we need to move. It's good for our body in all sorts of ways, but it's also good mentally for our bodies. So I urge everybody to move to use the handrails. I'm just recovering from a very bad knee accident because I wasn't using a handrail. So use the handrails. Enjoy your bodies as much as you do your mind. And those are the things I loved about Girls High. They really did set me up. And I want to leave with one line of a song by an early lesbian feminist singer by the name of Alex Stockton, who had a wonderful song called Ode to a Gym Teacher. And it was about her high school gym teachers. And the chorus goes, she was the first big woman to ever come along that showed me being female meant you still could be strong. And though graduation meant that we had to part, she'll always be a player on the ball field of my heart. Thank you all very much. This is an amazing honor. Thank you, Gladys, for the cue.
Our next nominee and distinguished daughter is Mita Vo Warwick Fuller. She was born June 9th, 1877, to a prominent Philadelphia American family. Her father, William H. Warwick, owned several barbershops, and her mother, Emma Jones Warwick, was a hairdresser. One of her mother's prominent clients was Mita Vo, the daughter of Senator Richard Vo from Philadelphia, and young Mita was named after her. The Warwick family instilled in their children a love for education and the arts. They truly nurtured Mita's pursuit of her passion. In 1893, Mita enrolled at Girls High School, and her obvious talent contributed to her admission. At that time, entrance to any Philadelphia secondary school required that prospective students obtain recommendations and pass an examination in addition to having good grades. Few black students received the recommendations that allowed them to take the test. For example, 2 years earlier, Girls High accepted 14 blacks out of 618 applicants submitted. Because Mita was successful in art school, her teachers no doubt urged her to channel her talent into teaching, which was then a practical career for women. Warwick was among the few gifted artists selected from the Philadelphia Public Schools to study art and design at J. Liberty Todd's art program at the University Pennsylvania Museum and School of Industrial Art in the early 1890s. This is a statement from the Danforth Museum, which houses the largest collection of Mita Vo Warwick Fuller's artwork. It is an incredible honor that Mita Fuller is being recognized by the Distinguished Daughters Court of Honor for her outstanding contributions to society. As an African American born in Philadelphia in the late 1800s, her success as a professional artist shows what is possible through support, education, and determination. Mita was born in 1877, the youngest of 3 children, in an upper middle class family. Her family supported her desire to become an artist at a time when women were discouraged from pursuing careers outside the home and were expected to get married, raise a family, and focus on domestic duties. Mita's artistic talents won her a scholarship to the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts in 1896 and led her to Paris from 1899 to 1902 to continue her studies. There, she was mentored by Auguste Rodin, that we know as the sculptor of the thinker. Fuller returned to Philadelphia in the fall of 1902, and in 1907 she became the first African-American woman to win a federal government commission to create a sculpture
for the Negro Building at the Jamestown Tercentennial Exposition. In 1909, Meta married and moved to Framingham, Massachusetts with her husband, Dr. Solomon Carter Fuller. They built a home which housed her studio in the attic. She worked in the cramped attic studio until she built a larger space for herself in the late 1920s. Framingham is where Fuller made some of her most well-known sculptures, including Spirit of Emancipation, Ethiopia Awakening, Talking Skulls, and In Silent Protest. Her sculptures depicted African Americans with dignity, respect, and strength, standing on their own merits without looking to a higher power or savior for help. Her sculptures, which challenge stereotypical depictions of African Americans in art, greatly influenced artists and writers during the Harlem Renaissance and beyond. As the holder of the largest collection of Meta's works and ephemera, the Danforth Art Museum of Framingham State University is proud to be the caretaker of works by such an important artist. The recent growth we have seen in outreach, research, and loan requests shows that she's being recognized for her contributions to art and history. This honor from the distinguished daughters further solidifies Meta's success, impact, and relevance. Thank you. We have a video acceptance from her 11-year-old granddaughter. I'm sorry, great granddaughter.
Hello everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Journey Fuller, and I'm the great-great-granddaughter of Meta Bowe Warwick Fuller. It is an honor and pleasure to come before you today. When thinking of my great-great-grandmother, a couple of things come to mind. First is her creativity. As an 11-year-old, I often find myself trying my hand at creating things, whether it be drawing, making things out of cardboard and paper, or building things in Minecraft. I like to think that I get that from her. I also admire her because she did not give up on her dreams. She found a way to get the education she wanted despite of the obstacles facing African Americans during the time. She never gave up and became a pioneer in the art world, becoming an international pioneer of people of color. She is an inspiration and role model, not just for female Black artists, but for women in all industries. She is such an inspiration to all women. She is the reason I am accepting this award. On behalf of my great-great-grandmother and the entire Fuller family, it is my distinct honor in accepting the 2022 Distinguished Daughters Court of Honor Award. Thank you to the Alumni Association of the Philadelphia High School for Girls in this wonderful honor.
Distinguished daughter, Valerie Gay. Val graduated from Girls High in 1983 in the mighty class 227. Val is a certified financial planner, nonprofit administrator, recording and performing artist with an international reputation, and a thought leader. She has been an entrepreneur since 2006, beginning with Fortress Arts Academy, which provides arts and skill-building lessons for children and adults with a focus on underserved communities. She is a performing artist of opera and gospel music, performing in music halls and churches across the country and in Europe. Her venues have included Carnegie Hall, the Academy of Music, the Kimmel Center, University of Southern California, and Swabisch Hall in Germany. Val is the Deputy Director and Chief Experience Officer for the Barnes Foundation, where she oversees public and family programming, community engagement, and the security team. She has previously held senior and executive positions, including Executive Director of Art Sanctuary in Philadelphia, Assistant Dean for Institutional Advancement for the College of Education at Temple University, and Vice President and Portfolio Manager with PNC Advisors. She serves as Consulting Executive Director of Empowered Community Development Corporation, Incorporated, in Southwest Philadelphia, which is an organization devoted to improving the quality of life for Southwest Philadelphia residents. Val has received numerous awards, including an honorary doctorate in humane letters from St. Joseph's University in 2019, a citation from the City Council of Philadelphia in 2018, and Tribune Magazine has listed her as one of the most influential African Americans in Philadelphia from 2012 all the way up to 2021. She has served on many boards over the years, and in 2016 was appointed by Mayor Kenny to serve on the Mayor's Commission of the Arts, where she continues to share her talents. Multi-talented Val, please proceed to the podium. Okay, so much like James, I didn't know we were supposed to talk. I was like, oh my gosh. I sent my friend Ruth Naomi Floyd, also a Girls High girl, class of 226. I sent her a note like, OMG, I have to speak while we're sitting there. I just want to thank you all so much. I'm so grateful. So I do want to thank Ruth, my sister, who I looked up to here as she walked these halls, and who became my friend, and I get to perform with her. I'm a big fan. And I think my brother who's here, I call him my older brother. In fact, he's my younger brother, but nobody knows. Anyway, I'm just so grateful that he's here. He's representing my family, our parents. And I thank all of you. I think the selection committee. I think anyone who, my friend Terry, Dr. Terry Lipman, I think nominated me, and I'm so grateful, so grateful. As a shy and slightly nerdy, okay, kind of nerdy 14-year-old who came into this building, I had no idea what my life would
on what would unfold. In fact, when Ruth and I walked up the stairs today, I think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was only the 6th time I walked up those stairs in my entire life. Because I was so shy. I would go out the side and go down into the subway. Because all those boys were at the bottom of the, like, that was too much pressure. Way too much pressure. So I would force myself once a year to run down the stairs and then, you know, that would be my yearly thing, you know, so. Just even talking about it just makes me nervous. And I too have to thank the faculty. Gail, thank you so much for bringing the names of the faculty. For me, Mr. Krieger, where is he? Mr. Krieger is the reason why I learned how to orchestrate. Like, Mr. Krieger gave me a chance to orchestrate, to do 2 things, to redo the song, the song that we did for Christmas, the Spanish song, Madre a la puerta a un niño, right? I got to do that. And then for our senior song, I got to literally orchestrate by hand the entire orchestration for our song, which was Memory from Cats. I didn't know how exceptional that was. I'm so grateful. You know, I didn't know. The thing is, we don't know who's going to be who, right? And so we have to treat every being that's in front of us as the massive potential that they are, because we just don't know. Like, I had no idea that the life that I got to live here, or that I would have, is because of here. A lot of it is because of here. Mr. Murphy. So let me tell you, Jill Scott and I almost got into a fist fight one time because we were both talking about being Girls High girls. And she says, oh, Mr. Murphy was my man. I was like, get back, sister, that was my man. He was mine. Oh, mine. And then I had the distinct honor at his memorial service to speak on behalf of all Girls High girls, all the students that he taught. I'm so grateful, because Mr. Murphy is the reason why I also became a singer. I became an opera singer. I am the first in my family to go to college, and December of my senior year, here I was supposed to be like all generally first generation. I was supposed to be the doctor. My brother was supposed to be the lawyer. Didn't happen to either of us. Anyway, because Mr. Murphy took us to an opera, and I saw Jesse Norman, and that night changed my life. And when I asked Mr. Murphy, as he saw me weeping afterwards, he said, did you like that? And I said, you think I could do that for a living? And he says, come see me on Monday. The rest for me is history. Because Mr. Murphy didn't raise an eyebrow, and he took me seriously. And I was so scared and shy that Monday I came into school, I was nervous, fidgeting, and he says, were you serious? And I was like, yes. Were you? And he was like, yes, let's get to work. 3 months later, 5 of the top conservatories in the country I was accepted to because of Mr. Murphy. I'm so grateful. Speak up. Edna Green. Everybody needs to Google Edna Green. Dr. Edna Green became a friend of mine when I was at the College of Education. She is the reason why we had transparencies in our biology book. She did that. And because she understood as a woman, graduating from Girls High in 1931, that she didn't have the same experiences that the males did, that she tried to instill in all of us. So as an alumni, she said to me, she was in her 80s, Valerie, don't let anybody stop you. Whatever you want to do, honey, you go ahead and do it. I was like, thank you, Dr. Green. Edna, my friend. And finally, Constance Clayton. Dr. Clayton is the reason why I have what they call a portfolio career. Dr. Clayton came to our school for our career day. I remember where I was sitting in the auditorium. I was in the 11th grade on the end, wearing a really cute striped top. That was my mom, but she didn't have it. Anyway, and she said, girls, take your education seriously. As long as you have a solid foundation, so I say it to all the young ladies here, take it seriously, and not just what you do in school now, but for the rest of your life. Because every day can become a school for you, and every school can become a platform or a stepping stool for you. Because of Dr. Clayton, she said, some of you will have 3 or 4 careers in your lifetime. And I was like, wait, what? Because I had never heard of that before. And so every time I made a different decision, it was because I remembered the words that Connie Clayton said. And I have to say, Connie is now a friend of mine. Now, I can call her Connie because she said I could call her Connie. But it took me a while. She was like, honey, call me Connie. I was like, okay, Connie. Thank you. I'm so grateful. I am who I am because of everyone who's given to me. And I implore you much, as Gail said, let's make sure that the girls who follow us and every young person in our lives have the opportunity to also reach their potential. Thank you.
Good afternoon again. It's my honor to introduce Margaret Roselle Hawkins into the 2022 Distinguished Daughters Court of Honor, class of January of 1927. Margaret Roselle Hawkins is the co-founder and the second national president of the Lynx Incorporated. Born Margaret Josephine Roselle on January 12, 1908 in Philadelphia, she was the younger of 2 daughters of David and Anna Roselle. While attending the Philadelphia High School for Girls, her innate artistic talent was discovered, and she entered a special program in the field of art. However, she is probably best remembered at Girls High for leading her black classmates in a determined effort to attend the annual and, at that time, all-white prom. After graduating from Girls High, the Philadelphia Board of Education awarded her a four-year scholarship to the Women's School of Design, later known as the Moore Institute of Art. Upon graduating in 1931, she was appointed to teach art in the Camden, New Jersey schools. There, she soon became one of the city's demonstration teachers in art techniques. Margaret was very involved in her community, where she was a member of the Eastern Arts Association, the National Arts Association, and the New Jersey Teachers Association. She was active in Jack and Jill, the Mother Study Club, the Sunday Nighters, and the Dealers. In 1945, Margaret and Sarah Strickland Scott envisioned an organization that would respond to the needs of black educated women in ways that existing clubs did not. It was their intent that the club would have a 3-fold aim: civic, educational, and cultural. Based on these aims, the club would implement programs which its founders hoped would foster cultural appreciation through the arts, develop richer intergroup relations, and help women who participated to understand and accept their social and civic responsibilities. The Lynx was born in 1947 in Philadelphia. Today, the Lynx Incorporated celebrates 75 years as one of the nation's oldest and largest volunteer service organizations, composed of extraordinary women who are committed to enriching, sustaining, and ensuring the cultural and economic survival of African Americans and other persons of African ancestry. There are more than 16,000 members in 299 chapters located in 40 states, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and the United Kingdom. So we have family members who are going to come up here and accept the award and give some remarks. So please, I welcome you to the podium.
On behalf of my brother and I, we want to thank all involved in joining our mother to the Girls High Distinguished Daughters Court of Honor. The Lynx organization was founded by my mother at the kitchen table of our home. She envisioned a global organization uniting prominent African American women in the community of service and friendship. She invited 10 to 12 of her girlfriends to join, and they became the charter members. Now, 76 years later, she would be beaming with pride to know that the organization that she founded has grown into the largest nationwide organization of Black women in the United States, with more than 17,000 members and pretty close to 300 chapters. I am sure she is smiling from ear to ear in heaven, knowing that her dream has become an even bigger reality. On behalf of my brother, Dr. Hawkins, and myself, I'm Bruce Hawkins. Again, we want to thank all involved in honoring our mother's legacy. We are eternally grateful. Thank you.
I didn't realize that I would be expected to speak, so everything I say is not prepared. I witnessed her for the, excuse me. I witnessed her formulation of the links. I saw it grow to its present position. It's international, of being international. I witnessed it. I witnessed her death, as my brother did. She was rare in everything she did. She died of a disease. I calculated it out against the population. It was only 188 people that year that died from her disease. She left me with the mindset the day she died. I was in class the next day as a sophomore in medical school. That was the highest honor I could give her. I am 48 in my mind. I'm actually 84. I don't believe in giving up. She put that in me. I have practiced all over the city. I am now currently treating opiate addicted patients at Kensington and Allegheny Avenue. My brother has become the finest reconstruction artist and most professional funeral director I know of in the state. All because of her, and all because of our father, who worked 3 jobs, 80+ hours a week for years to put us where we are. Thank you. I have fun.
Our next honoree is N.C. Hyken. Nancy Hyken is a writer, director, producer, and award-winning filmmaker and Sundance Fellow who grew up in East Mount Airy. It is noted that while at Girls High, her worst subject was French, yet she made her film directing debut with the multiple prize-winning French narrative comic short, Mañana, produced by Gabrielle Tana. After completing a BA at Sarah Lawrence College, NC had an active career in the New York theater, working extensively as both creator and performer on Broadway and off-Broadway at La Mama ETC and the Public Theater. Her first documentary about North Korean refugees and dissidents premiered at Sundance in 2009, won the One World Human Rights Award, played in all major European cities as well as South Korea, Vietnam, and Cambodia, and streamed on Netflix until 2018. International best-selling author Michael Connelly produced her critically acclaimed film South of Redemption, The Frank Morgan Story, which premiered at the Los Angeles Film Festival in 2014 and theatrically in 2015. It has a 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. While filming Sound of Redemption, NC met the subject of her current documentary, Life and Life, about a convicted murderer, which asks, how long is long enough? It won a 2019 NYSCA grant. In the fall of 2018, NC completed a documentary, Books and Music and music video, Just the Clothes on My Back, on famed author Lee Child's collaboration with roots band Naked Blue. She is currently working on a new script with Gabrielle Tana and has made Paris her home. I welcome to the podium N.C. Hyken.
Wow. I wish I'd been first. I wouldn't have known how amazing people I was coming up with. I'm totally humbled. I mean, seriously humbled. Come on, people. Wow. And Mr. and Dr. Hawkins. I wish that Gail had written my speech. I have like a semi-extemporaneous thing, and I'm happy to be honored before I hit my semi-demi-sesquicentennial, because I think I'm the oldest class of rootin' tootin' tootan. That gives you an idea. Anyway, I'm so completely pumped to be here. I mean, I had no idea, and you know, I went to this all-girls school. My brother and my father went to Central. They distinguished themselves there. They were serious scholars, both of them, and I wanted to follow in their footsteps, so here we are at Girls High with pink marble. And I had a great time here, it's true. I had a great time here. I did not have those high school blues a lot of kids go through, probably because there were no boys here. And because the way the teachers treated us, we were meant to excel. But I think when I chose an all-girls college, my mother was in deep despair. She was like, I'm never going to meet anyone. But bizarrely, I met my husband in Philadelphia when he came from France to visit a friend, and I met him here. He did whisk me off to France, and it is true, the only C I ever got in my life was in French. But anyway, it's behind me, I'm fluent now, everything's cool. I was interested in music and dance, treble clef, dance, theater. I did all those things. I went to classes after school. I went to classes on Saturdays. I did get to go to off-Broadway. I did get to go to Broadway, and it all started at Broad and Omley. And I did a lot of other things, and I never thought I'd be a documentary filmmaker. I mean, it was never on my radar. To even be a film director was not on a girl's radar when I was a kid. So I can't say I broke that barrier, lots of people have, but it's still, it makes me pleased that I'm a female director, that I went to girls' schools that helped me achieve these kinds of things. I should look at my notes now. Yeah, there was something that, we had a 50th reunion a couple of years ago, and I managed to get there, and it was really then that I realized how powerful this place is. As you said, you don't know who's around you, and you don't know what's going to happen to you, you know, especially when you're a kid, you know, you just have no idea how it's going to play out. But when I saw all my sisters from that class, doctors, lawyers, teachers, community organizers, social services, always with just such distinction, such passion, so much honor to our school, to the communities they served, always in service, always with big hearts and passion. I thought, oh my God, wow. Wow, what a place this is, what kind of women this place produces. I'm proud to be a little teeny member of this great big community. I want to thank you, Barbara, for nominating me. I mean, out of the blue, seriously. Thank you, committee, for selecting me. I'm just seriously very, very honored. Thank you.
Okay, our next member of the 2022 Distinguished Daughters Court of Honor is Nicole Jordan from the class of 241, June of 2001. Nicole Jordan was appointed Principal Librarian of the Philadelphia Orchestra in 2020, the first African American male or female to join the orchestra as a full-time member in its 120-year history. Born and raised in Philadelphia, she began her musical journey at a young age, first learning the trumpet before switching to viola while attending the Philadelphia High School for Girls. She earned a Bachelor of Music degree in viola performance from the University of Minnesota at Duluth and a Master of Music degree in music history from Temple University. Beginning her career as a performance librarian with the Philadelphia Orchestra, Miss Jordan served as the orchestra's library fellow from 2008 to 2011. Following her fellowship, she was appointed Assistant Principal Librarian at the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra in October of 2011 and held that position for 5 years. In September of 2016, she was named Principal Librarian of the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, becoming the first African American to hold that position at a major orchestra. Other organizations at which she held library include the Center for the Arts and Aspen Music Festival and School. Ms. Jordan is an active member of the Major Orchestra Libraries Association and frequently serves as a moderator and presenter on varying topics in the performance library field. A passionate advocate of education, she served on MOLA's Education Committee for several years and acted as co-chair of that committee from 2017 to 2019. She is also active in planning MOLA's annual conferences. As a freelance librarian, Ms. Jordan participates in a myriad of projects from an assortment of individuals and organizations. She also uses her knowledge and varied skill set to advise composers, conductors, and librarians new to the field. Outside of the library, she enjoys learning languages, tennis, cooking, gaming, and spending time with her friends and family, and her cat, Tahoe. Ms. Jordan cannot be in attendance today because she will be performing at Carnegie Hall.
Just an aside about Nicole Jordan, she ties with her classmate, the Honorable Catherine Gilmore Richardson, as the youngest distinguished daughter. So it is the two of them, how fitting that they are both in the same class. Our next honoree is the Reverend Dr. Jacqueline Thomas King, class of June 76, 220. Change Agent for Faith. Nominated by distinguished daughter, Vanessa Thomas Smith, 1973 and 217. Also is a 2008 inductee to the Distinguished Daughters Court of Honor. This is an extremely personal tribute for me. Though we share our Girls High connection, our paths go back even further. The three of us attended Julia Reynolds' Mastering together. Vanessa a year ahead of me, Jackie 2 years behind me. And together we rode the two bus home. After Jackie graduated from Girls High, she attended Philadelphia University and received a Bachelor of Science in Marketing and Retail Sales Management. She earned an MBA in Concentration in Marketing and Management Information Systems from Penn State in 1986. Then came a certification in Fundraising Management, CFRM, at the Indiana University School of Philanthropy in Indianapolis. Not quite finished, Jackie earned a Master of Divinity and Urban Ministry certification from Southern Methodist University Perkins School of Theology in 2004. Still not finished. In 2012, Jackie completed her Doctor of Ministry from Drew University in Madison, New Jersey. Jackie is a leader, teacher, project and event manager, coach, trainer. She has developed new ministries, introduced internet technology and ministry development in church management, outreach and community engagement. And if she wasn't busy enough, she counsels those who are interested in pursuing ministry in their discernment process. I am proud to introduce the Reverend Dr. Jackie Thomas King.
One of the greatest gifts about Girls High is that you know you can be whatever you can be. I can't sing a lick. And so when the people over here said, give me an A, I said, you're definitely not talking to me. But I knew what an A was because I went to what? Rehearsal. I got creative in other ways. And while I was here, I ran a business. And the business didn't have a name when I got here, but my sister ran the school store, and then I ran the school store, and it used to be called the school store. But we had a contest named, Name That Room. So we named it the Hole in the Wall. You could get all the supplies you needed, you could meet people, and you could work. Anybody know about work? When you come to Girls High, you needed to know how to work. And you needed to know how to get involved with things and create things and do things, and then you went to art class. I didn't know how to draw, but we had an art teacher that says, imagine the homes across the street from the school. Create them differently. And we etched this stuff out and we did all these things, and I was like, you know what, this is really not my thing, but I turned my paper in because, you gotta finish what you need to finish if you're gonna finish here and finish strong. But at the same time, I was involved with a national black business and professional women's group that had a coinciding message. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be this, you can be that, and I was always ahead of that. But I remember being at 17th in Spring Garden, next to Will's Eye. And the vice principal said to me there, I need you to understand that you're a good citizen. And I could get the good citizen of the quarter award, I could get the good citizen of a half a year award, but I could never get the Good Citizen of the Year award because I was going to fight. If you're going to be a change agent, you need to know that sometimes you just had to fight. And the reality was I was a straight A student, but I could get one fight in every year. And the principal would say the same thing, you're a wonderful leader, but you're going to have to handle that fight thing that you keep doing. So when I got to Girls High, I met Dr. Wright. You know your record comes with you? Anybody know your record comes with you? And she said, we heard a few things about your abilities. She says, why, as a leader, do you think you need to fight? And I went on to explain, you know, like I gave them a warning and all these things should happen. And then got, you know, I just couldn't take it anymore. She said, well, we're going to learn here at Girls High a different strategy, young lady. I learned a new strategy. And I didn't fight that way. I fought another way. When I got to Girls High, some of you were 14, I was 13. I graduated from Girls High. I just turned 17 the week before. When you're at Masterman, you could do this thing called 7-2. Half the year you're in 7th grade, half the year you're in 8th grade. If you pass the test, woo, where are you going? I said, we're going to Girls High. Put my gold on. And it was amazing because my sister was my sponsor in my homeroom. But maybe y'all don't know about the class of 1976. We had our prom at the Franklin Institute in the heart. The heart was beating. That's why our junior prom was. We were creative and challenging, amen? And we were the class that not only voted, hello, 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 hello. We voted for caps and gowns, and we wore them. Yes, you did. And bicentennial year off, boom, 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 and we got our scholarships. So we were a bit radical before the radical was really understanding of the radical. And our graduates very much are still the same. Another distinguished daughter is Marietta Simpson. So I thank God of being in, not only receiving this award, I'm humbled by it. Because when you start your journey as a person who would fight, the last thing you think is somebody's going to honor you for being a distinguished daughter. Can somebody say amen? But before I got to Girls High, I always wanted to have education because that's what my mother, my grandmother, my family said. If you get this education, Jackie, you can break through any doors. And I got a lot of different ways of being educated. But my grounding came while I was here. Not only did I believe I could do anything, but the things that I did here helped me to take a leap of faith here, and a leap of faith here, and another leap of faith there. And when I walked up the steps, and I walked up a couple times because I wasn't shy. I got on the subway, and when I got to the steps, I was like, dude, y'all need to get away from me because I'm on a mission. I got things to do, places to go, people to see. You can't hold me back, you know. I like pressed past these Negroes that was at the front of the room. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it out loud because some of them, they was up here trying to catch a friend. And I was like, I have business to handle, and I'm going up these steps. And so I came up the steps every day. I don't think I missed a day of school. But when I walked in today and I saw those pink marble halls, whoa. Took me to a place. Took me to a place. Where Dr. Wright said, no, girlfriend. We're not having no fighting up in here. That was my translation, but she said, we have other things as young women that you need to be doing. Instead of fighting with your hands. Yes. You need to learn how to stand up for yourself, but you ain't got to jack nobody up. Yes. And I learned here to stand up for myself, articulate what was critical, call a spade, but handle my business.
Come on.
I'm the first woman in the United Methodist Church in many churches because they didn't want a woman pastor. I've been in places where they said in business, I'd get to the place and they'd say, are you the appointment that we have? Because you learned here, girls, how to articulate what you needed to be said and say what you mean and mean what you say. But we didn't stumble over our words, and when they heard my voice, they thought my voice was a Caucasian individual. And when I got there and I was the black woman, they looked at me and said, whoa, 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 whoa. And I said, now that you can get over it, we need to handle our business. So if you don't hear anything else, keep teaching the impossibilities. Keep teaching the intangible spirit. Model it, live it, breathe it, sing it, dance it, dream it, do it. And then pass it forward.
Come on.
All right. Because somebody that's graduating this year, they will be greater than we could have ever been.
Yes.
Because this is their season. This is their time. We are the understanding to them to say, don't quit before the miracle happens.
All right. Yes.
And for all the honorees, we are the miracle. Keep pressing. Your work is not done, GHS.
Yeah. Praise the Lord.
But I've been taken to church. Thank you.
I am just overjoyed to introduce distinguished daughter Carrie Walker Lassane, who is in class 221. She's my sister and friend. We graduated together in 1977. Carrie was born and raised in North Philadelphia. As she began her education in the Philadelphia school system, her interest in music began. Due to the musical education she received in her primary grades, playing the piano, flute, and cello, all before the age of 13, her musical talent grew. Her years at Girls High prepared her for a music therapy degree at Montclair University. Carrie is sought after for musical instruction, vocal arrangements, choral and solo instruction, and performance on piano, cello, and flute, in addition to vocal performance. Her extensive vocal range is utilized in recordings, productions, and projects of many esteemed colleagues throughout the United States. Carrie has had multiple experiences singing before presidents, singing upon the sands of Egypt and the slave forts of Ghana, and even being selected to sing before the leader of the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Francis, upon his first visit to Philadelphia, celebrating the World Meeting of Families in 2015. The gospel, classical, and jazz idioms have all been layered as intertwining components of her background. Carrie is a member of the Grammy-nominated Gabriel Hardiman delegation. She is the director of the Intermezzo Choir Ministry and the director of music for her church, Berean Presbyterian, where she also serves as an elder. She is a contributing artist with the Ever Ensemble and the Philadelphia Community Choir. She is the founder of Vision, a collaborative ensemble of professional singers and composers, and is a guest instructor throughout the tri-state area, and she has been accompanied by the renowned Philadelphia Orchestra. Carrie has taught at the Gibson School of Music and Arts for over 25 years and is a member of Musicopia, an organization of teachers sent to learning institutions to enhance the study of music and the arts. Carrie's talents have been enjoyed by many audiences of all ethnicities, genders, and economic levels. She embraces all genres, and her ministry of music truly has a purpose. Touching souls through music defines Carrie's life. Musical Carrie, please approach the podium.
After our previous distinguished daughter, I think we all need to say amen. Amen. Good afternoon, everybody. It is indeed, it's an honor to be here. Not because of you have decided to bestow such an honor to me, but because of all of what we have heard thus far. It is indeed a pleasure to be able to just witness the greatness that the school has done. You know, that winged victory statue in the marble halls that we passed all those years ago, that kind of says it all for me. Because that statue represents so many things. It represents courage, it represents history, it represents strength, it represents pride, it represents endurance, it represents a commitment. So as I stand here today, you know, I can only think about my parents, because that is my history, that is my legacy. They're not alive anymore, but if they were here today, I'm sure that they would indeed be proud, and they would feel the esteem of all the words that have been said thus far. You know, it was indeed, I felt just overjoyed and humbled when Marietta Simpson was my sponsor. She nominated me for this honor. I had the privilege of being able to be in school with her. She graduated a year before I did. She graduated with Jackie. But I had the chance to be in these halls and to be in the music room. Mr. Dimitri Kariga. Mr. Kariga. For him to be here today means an awful lot to me. Because it is because of him that I modeled what I thought was an ideal music teacher. To be able to be varied and to be able to have the ability to do all the different genres and to be able to do them well and to be able to teach it and to be able to put an understanding on it where it surpasses all cultures, it surpasses all nations, it surpasses all ages, it surpasses all situations, where I'm able to go to Carnegie Hall or the Man or to be with whatever institution I need to be at. I'm able to do it well and do it well represented because it came from here. Girls High. You have no idea, I'm talking to these walls right now. You have no idea what you have done for so many people. You have established a pride in which we can stand before others who might not know what they're doing, but you give us the assurance to know that we are indeed somebody. Yes, I grew up in North Philadelphia. I came from Strawberry Mansion Junior High School. I was there for 2 years, and the counselors went to my parents and said, your daughter needs to be somewhere else.
They wanted me to go to Masterman, but at that time, for those who recall, those were the days of gang wars. And that was not a time in which you wanted to cross the city by bus. That was not something you wanted to do. So my parents opted for me to stay at Strawberry Mansion, which was a blessing. Because of that, that was how I developed the gospel background that I had with a Grammy-nominated organization and group, of which I'm still affiliated with now. But there are so many things that there's no words that can really put it into place. This is indeed a time that Girls High, it's because of your edicts, your traditions, your standards, that's made all of this possible for everybody that is being inducted today. You have been in our spirit, you have been in our souls, you have been in our lives, and people who have never come here, all they know is that you're one of those girls. Did I say that right? There is a certain standard. There is a certain standard that we have to live up to. So all the young ladies that are in here now, as we laugh about you being class number 267.
Yeah.
I know it makes us feel antiquated. But when we look at you, and as it was alluded to earlier, that interview that we had, that was top notch. We know we're going to see you on television.
All right. All right.
So for you, when I went down the hall earlier and somebody said, well, what's going on in there? Yeah. And I proudly heard one of your young ladies say, oh, that's where the alumni are. That's the alumni who have been accomplished. And this is what this young lady is saying. I didn't say it, she said it. I said, my God. And just think of what we're going to say 40 years from now when you're here. It is a wonderful thing when you come from a tradition. Because I remember when we were here and they kept telling us, you have to wear white dresses and you have to do that speech in Latin, remember?
Yeah.
Okay. And come on. At that time, that wasn't necessarily something we wanted to hear, right? But now we can appreciate it. Because there's something to be said for tradition. There's something to be said for a standard that has to be maintained. Sometimes change is not good. Sometimes you have to hold on to that foundation. And Girls High, thank God you did. So I just want to say thank you. I want to thank the Alumni Association. Just like that statue, you have been the wind that has enabled all of those wings to fly. You have been the one that have held on to that tradition. So we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Because without it, it would just fly away. And it would be gone. 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 But that's all right. We know how to fight when we have to. So we're going to help you. Because there's certain things that have to remain. We have to be able to look back to our teachers and to say, we love you. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts because you fought for us to be able to be what we are today. And because of that, distinguished daughters, you've made us where we can just come together today, listen to wise words, and I say this to the Hawkins family. Thank you. I was already filled up before I came here, but then after everybody who spoke, and you, I don't know what to do with you. I'm filled up. I'm exceedingly happy because of this class, of this court, 2 friends are in it with me. Sister Gay, we're together musically. Anyway, we're together. And Vanessa and Jackie. I was in that organization she was talking about, Negro Business and Professional Women. We were together then. So I love how God just puts everything back together. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share this with you. The best part of it was my son-in-law came and surprised me today. We didn't think he could come today, but he showed up. Ladies, you know you can't ask for nothing better than that. So I just want to thank you for allowing me to just live in this moment right now, and for just securing a place in me where all this is going to do is just make me work harder, if there's such a thing. But just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
We're going to move quickly through our last presentation. School dismisses at 3:19 and our girls have to leave. So the very last presentation is Aisha Shahida Simmons.
Aisha Shahida Simmons is an award-winning documentary filmmaker, author, educator, and activist who, for 28 years, has examined the intersections of race, gender, sexuality, and sexual violence. After graduating from Girls High, she attended Swarthmore College and Temple University. She lived experiences as a childhood and adult sexual violence survivor, a 20-year Buddhist practitioner, and a meditation teacher committed to healing, accountability, and compassionate justice. Aisha studied closely with her teacher, the late Tony K. Bambara, at Scribe Video Center in the early 90s. With her self-defined Afro-les femme-centric pen and camera lens, Aisha wrote, directed, and produced her widely acclaimed short video, Silence Broken, 1993, and In My Father's House, 1996, which addresses race, gender, homophobia, rape, reproductive justice, and misogyny. Aisha is a member of the guest teaching faculty on the weekly Dharma Gathering platform and Bar Center for Buddhist Studies. Previously, Aisha was a 2019-2020 visiting scholar at the Annenberg School for Communication, a 2016 through 2018 visiting scholar at the School for Social Policy and Practices at the University of Pennsylvania, the 2015-2016 Sterling Brown Professor of African Studies at Williams College, an adjunct professor in Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies program at Temple University, an O'Brien Distinguished Visiting Professor in the Feminist Gender and Sexuality Studies Department at Scripps College, an artist in residence at the Center for the Study of Race, Politics, and Culture, and a visiting lecturer in the Department of Cinema and Media Studies at the University of Chicago, as well as an artist in residence at Spelman College's Digital Moving Image Salon. Simmons' writings are published widely, including articles for the New York Times, NBC.com, and Essence Magazine. Aisha screened her work, guest lectured, and facilitated workshops and dialogues to racially and ethnically diverse audiences at colleges and universities, high schools, conferences, international film festivals, rape crisis centers, battered women's shelters, community centers, juvenile correction facilities, and government-sponsored events across the United States and Canada, also throughout Italy, South Africa, France, England, Croatia, Spain, Hungary, the Netherlands, Mexico, Kenya, Malaysia, India, Switzerland, St. Croix, Germany, and Cuba. As a filmmaker, she successfully created 2 acclaimed short videos, Silence Broken, 1993, and In My Father's House, 1996. However, she is most widely known for her 2006 groundbreaking, internationally acclaimed documentary feature film, No, the Rape Documentary. I'd like to call to the podium, Aisha.
Mindful of time.
So first, I just want to say what an honor it is to be back here in the halls of the Philadelphia High School for Girls, 231. I'm just filled up at this moment. So I really, I'm really grateful that my father, Michael Simmons, is here. He has been such a champion of my life's journey. And he really took me, he showed me the world on my, well, not my first international trip, but my first transatlantic trip to Spain. And it was there that I decided that I wanted to be a filmmaker. I am a child of activists, my mother, Dr. Gwendolyn Zahara Simmons, and my father, Michael Simmons. I really decided that it was through cultural work that I wanted to make, in the words of my teacher, Tony K. Bombara, revolution, social change, irresistible. I stand here as a survivor of sexual violence, and I think that it is so important that we name that, because there's so much shame and stigma connected to that. I stand here as a Black feminist lesbian, and I think that that's also very important. And I want to just share that when I was here at Girls High, while there were many of us who were, or at least trying to figure out our sexuality, that it, as I said in my interview, it's emblematic in terms of that there weren't spaces where we could really talk about it. So it just my heart burst open when I saw signs around safe spaces and the rainbow flag, and just recognizing inclusivity, how important that is. And I say that because I'm very clear that the sexual trauma that I experienced my sophomore year in college was as a result of my trying to be something that I was not, heterosexual. And so that it is I believe it's very important to be visible, so that young people especially don't have to struggle if they are struggling, and they can say, oh wow, here's a lesbian who is functioning, who is hopefully making a contribution to society, who's alive and well. Here is a woman who has experienced sexual violence and did not allow the trauma to define them, was able to, fortunately, thanks to therapy and culture work, transform that trauma into healing, to take that work and that message globally, to create work, my film, No, the Rape Documentary, my anthology, Love with Accountability, Digging Up the Roots of Childhood Sexual Abuse, which won a 2020 Lambda Literary Award. Being able to talk about this work globally, using the stories and experiences of Black survivors, to be, thanks to my father and his work in Eastern Europe, in Croatia, in Hungary, talking to Roma Sinti communities, in France, in South Africa, talking about sexual violence, and recognizing the universality, unfortunately, of the crime, but having people recognize.
First, I would like to apologize to our distinguished daughters who are still being honored in a library. I promise to be as short as possible. The MSA, Muslim Student Association, meets today in room 312, Ms. Baru's room. There will be snacks, games, and meaningful conversations. Everyone is always welcome. Science Olympiads today will be meeting in 320. At 320, in room 304. National Honor Society tutoring is today, 3:30 to 4, in Mr. Sickage's room. On Tuesday, from 3:15 to 4:30, is the election poll worker training in our auditorium. You can only attend if you have completed your paperwork.
Mr. Stickich will be providing you with passes. Volleyball team, please do not forget, for our junior varsity players, you should have returned your uniform today, or else it goes on delinquent property. Our varsity volleyball team uniforms are to be returned to Coach Raquine by Tuesday, November 1st. I would like to give a school-wide congratulations to our big sisters who have come back to be honored today for Distinguished Daughters. And I would also like to thank you students for a wonderful Friday. I loved your dress up. Thank you, Eva, Arter, and Miss Gordon. I appreciate you. Please enjoy your weekend. Be safe. There's the Phillies, the Eagles, and the Union games this weekend, as well as the National College Fair happening at the Convention Center on Sunday. Any student wanting to go, SEPTA is free as long as you show your student ID on Sunday to get you to and from the Pennsylvania Convention Center. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and we will see you on Monday.
Okay, I will bring this to a close, and I'm wondering, Reverend Dr. Jackie, did you study with Tracy West at Drew University?
Yes.
Okay,
She was there at the time, but I did my.
You were finished. Okay, yeah. No, I was wondering about that because she's one of the women featured in my documentary talking about sexual violence. So what I want to say is that, echoing what all of my Girls High sisters said, that for me, Girls High was so foundational. And when I think about high school, it brings me so much joy. So many of my Girls High sisters who I'm still in touch with, just saw one in the summer at Riverside, who used to teach at University of Riverside in California, Dr. Tracy Fisher. So just really grateful, and I believe that my work and my commitment to breaking silences definitely comes from my parents, but also in turn comes from the indomitable spirit of Girls High. I must also just do a special shout out. I moved to DC in 2020 to live with my partner, Sheila Alexander Reed, who at the time was the director of LGBTQ affairs for the mayor of DC, Mayor Muriel Bowser. 3 months ago, she accepted a position as the director of diversity for the Philadelphia Convention and Diversity Board. So she's here. I'm still in DC trying to figure out, like, what? I thought I was done with Philly, but Philly keeps calling me back. I'm grateful. I love Girls High and just want to stay connected. Thank you.
Two things. Our future distinguished daughters, students of Philadelphia High School for Girls, would like to do a brief presentation on Project SAFE. This is their brainchild. And after which, I would like to invite Valerie Gay, Carrie Lassane, and Ruth Floyd to lead us in the alma mater and Fidelitas. And after the alma mater and Fidelitas are sung, all the honorees are requested at the rear of the library so you can have your pictures taken. Thank you. Where are my Project Safe girls? Oh, here they are.
I'm a freshman. I'm a freshman 270.
Yeah.
Oh!
First, I just wanted to mention that we did the same presentation, but we did it a little longer. But for you guys, we want to make it brief. For Miss Gilmore Richardson, Councilwoman, to talk about us going to City Hall and doing the full presentation for them, as well as we talked to LaSalle and did it for them, so that we can have this space as somewhere that we can do the presentation. So now I'm gonna get to my sister.
Okay, so the Girls High School SAFE Project stands for Students Advocating for Everyone. And I'm one of the two founders for it. And this idea came to me during a random day during lunch. And I was just discussing with a friend the Roxborough shooting. And I was discussing it because I have two friends that go there. And I was thinking, what if that was me or my brother? He is hard-headed, he messes with people. So I emailed Miss Misi, hey, can we bring down the fare cards to 0.5 to help with the safety concerns that I have and just the safety issue in the city of Philadelphia as a whole. And me and Miss Misi arranged a meeting the next day, which I was grateful for, and we negotiated the mileage to 0.75. And this whole project really isn't just for me, but it's for everyone in my school district peers and just my sisters. And without my sister's care and the many others that helped, I don't think that this thing would have been as important as it is to be now. And I want to pass it on to my older sister.
Hello everyone. Sorry if I get a little shaky. There have been a total of 11 shootings this year. These shootings have happened within a 2-block perimeter in every direction of Girls High. 21% of shootings happen from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. citywide. From 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., students are being dismissed from school, going to their extracurricular activities, or heading to and or from work. I myself participate in many of these clubs, and I fear for not only my safety, but for the safety of my sisters as well. This is a very important topic for me because not only I am a middle child and I have a little brother, 13 years old, and I fear for his safety every day. I'm gonna pass it off to my little sister. Okay, you. You're smaller than me.
Alright, as what my sister said as well, someone of a smaller stature, it makes me think of my younger sisters, like the freshmen who come into the school, and with the violence that's been happening, it's scary. You come home from at least a school event, something to do at your safe place, what you think is somewhere safe for you. But outside of the school walls, it isn't. There's danger, at least at every single side of us. And sometimes you think, how can you defend yourself? What else can you do? What are we doing to keep our girls safe? And sometimes you just don't know what else you can do. The mental state of having to come to school and worrying about if there's going to be another school shooting, it's really hard to deal with because you're worried about your friends, your family, anyone in the environment. It's really hard to go through. And to have my younger sisters go through that, it makes me wonder what I would do at the time. Thank you.
What we ask from you guys is just to spread the word, to put us in rooms where our voices can be heard, where decisions are made, where we can make changes to our city, smaller changes like the fare cards, mileage being lowered, because if you don't have a fare card and you don't have the money to pay for it, you're walking these blocks. And like she said, my sister, on each side of the school, every direction, there's these shootings that are happening. And 21% of all citywide in Philadelphia shootings happen from 2 to 8. It's scary. So we just need that. We need funding. If anybody can help us with finding grants, that would be nice. And according to Ms. Misi, there will be a call to action for the alumni. So they might be, emails and stuff. And if you ever want to ask questions on how we can help or how you can pitch in or anything like that, please tell us
Activism starts here. As we learned today in 1926, Margaret Roselle Hawkins was an activist. She planted the seed that these girls are carrying. So thank you. At this time, trying to change and shift the energy in the room. Can we have the singers? And lead us in the school song and Fidelity.
So, yes, if everyone could please rise. Full disclosure, we're going to need some help with the Fidelitas. Okay, let's start with the alma mater. That's what we're gonna start, okay? Hail to our alma mater, her glory be our pride. Truth is a firm foundation. She is a friend and guide. Hail, oh, hail, hail, oh, hail. Girls High School, we praise thee. Hail, oh, hail. Fame to our alma mater. Thousands of voices ring, telling of love we bear her, to her we laurels bring. Hail, oh, hail, hail, oh, hail. Girls High School, we praise thee. Hail, oh, hail. Shout out the ringing praises, loyal, strong, and true. Bring we to our alma mater trust and honor due. Other orphans have we none, set our love for thee. Here they serve the revelation, our fidelity. Let it serve this revelation, our Thank you, Mr. Karina. Thank you, Mr. Karina.
I knew I should have bought the choir rehearsal book
That was wonderful, this live stream.